Lobenstein. No, this is Scott Lobenstein now. This is Superman. Anyways, you got it. They're terrible, but I need them now so I can read what I was supposed to say, which is great. And when Tanya asked me to come, host the AGM again this year, I was very excited, and I looked at her and I said, Tanya, what's sort of the theme that you guys are going with this year? And she said, why? I said, well, I really feel like it would help me know what's going on. And she's like, no, why? And which basically ran us on about a 5-minute long, basically who's on first scenario, when I finally realized it was why. And so the theme this year is why, if you're wondering what's going on. That was a joke, by the way. Oh. It didn't. Thank you, everybody. My producer back there. Thank you for that.
Hello, everyone. My name's Joel. I'm going to make sure that Scott's actually funny today.
Yes. He'll be letting you know when to laugh. Most of the time, he'll be letting you know when to laugh. So when Tanya told me why, I thought I had a great idea. I thought, let's get shirts made up. I got one for me. I got Tanya. Where are you? Let's see your shirt. She's back there. She's got why. Now, no big sister wants to look just like her brother, so, we both got why, but then I also got this. Thank you. Now, the truth is that whenever Tanya came up with an idea throughout our entire life, I always went, that's a great idea, why not? And so I thought this would work out well. Also, whatever idea she came up with, like why, I subverted and changed into something that I thought would be great. And so when she was like coming up with, I said, oh yeah, why do we all do things at camp? And I thought, yeah, there was a lot of things at camp that, I was like, I thought this was great. Like when my friends were like, let's get our glow-in-the-dark boxers on, charge them up, and then do the zip line, I said, why? Yeah, why not? That's right. And when they, there was so many things like that around here where they, and I'm sure the counselors and people who were running the camp back when I was coming here, when they looked at each other and said, you know what, let's get like 100 kids and an eaves trough and fill it with ice cream, chocolate sauce and bananas, and let like 100 children just get in there with spoons. They said, why not? That's right. And, this was before COVID, so we didn't have to worry about that sort of thing. We just dug in. It was still disgusting, though, really. So absolutely. Thank you. Anyways, I think back to when they let us have a camp-wide pillow fight with every child just grabbing whatever pillow and or rocks in those pillows, and they just said, that's right. And so when I asked Tanya, what's going on? I don't have a band this year. I said, why not? She said budget cuts, which is fair. But I did come up with an idea. This is our 80th birthday here at the camp. And I heard you guys have already all celebrated this earlier in the year. And we got this lovely podium. It has 80 years on it. But since we don't have a band and they can't lead us, I got us all something here. Who's wearing a Y button? Do we have like staff come on up here, Y button people. They're terrified. They have no idea what's going on. Come on over here, Y button people. All right, so okay. I got us 80 kazoos. So you can hand out 80 kazoos to our wonderful members who have come here today. And once we all get these wonderful kazoos, hand them fast, just give them to everybody. And we can all, host together. We can, mind your way, Josh. All right, while they hand those out. All right, so if your kazoo doesn't work, that's user error, because I had all of these tested by children in my neighborhood, so I know that they work. So I wouldn't worry about that. They're very clean children. While you're all getting kazoos, I'll go through a little housekeeping since nobody ever listens to these anyways. Washrooms are right out here on the left if you haven't found them yet. We'll be having lunch right after this. If you missed your paperwork, if you didn't sign in, if you came through one of these side doors, there is paperwork out there in the lobby. all these lovely people wearing these Y buttons throughout here.
Okay, thanks.
Throughout the day, when you see them having lunch or whatever, ask them their why. They've all been trained. So you can ask them their why and find out why they're wearing these buttons. They're going to hear the word why many times today. Every time I say the word why, take a sip from your coffee. We'll see how jittery we can all get today. All right, does everybody have a kazoo yet? All right. You see, I had the children tested, so it works. No, the other end. Have you never used a kazoo before? All right. Does everybody know? You hum into the kazoo. There you go. We've all learned something new today. When you come to camp, you get to learn things, usually about Jesus, but sometimes about musical instruments. All right. Does everybody remember how happy birthday goes? This might be the new COVID way of doing it because then there's no spitting or anything like that. All right. We should probably turn off my microphone so we don't hear the kazoo at a 10, decibel. Here we go. Together.
There's no sound going this way. I'll do a couch here.
Very nice. Very nice. And you can all keep those, by the way. They're one person use only. Thank you for doing that. Some of you were off key. I'm looking at you over there. Yeah, it's okay. It's hard to do first time. Thank you. I'm so amused that I got a room of people to do kazoos. It's just fantastic. All right. Well, that was about as good as we're going to get today. So it's all downhill from there. So, Joel, what's next? Are we ready?
I think I'm ready. Yeah. Let's take a little peek here. Did you remind them about the questions where they send their questions?
Oh yeah. Is it on the screen?
It can be in about a couple seconds, I thought.
All right.
It is.
So
look at that.
If you have any questions or if you're following, so we are live streaming this. I feel like there's so many things in the way of you people over there don't get to see me today. There is a question or a number right here. You can text that with any questions you have. We'll be dealing with them at the end or not. You'll just have to wait and see. It's like a surprise. If you all behave and we get through this reasonably quickly, we'll answer your questions. We are live streaming for all you people at home. You can also live stream or comment on the Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching it. You can comment there and share with us. I think that's pretty much it. We get to go into the next thing. Oh man, we're cruising along, you guys. We're doing so well. Proud of you all. Next, that was from me to you. All right. Next, we're going to have. Why did they put you in charge of me exactly back there?
I don't know.
Are you just hitting random buttons at this point?
Pretty much. That's what I'm
perfect.
Here for.
This is just like every other talk show out there. We have some board members that we're going to have come up here today. Dustin, how do you say your last name? Yeah, come on up. And Darcy, is Darcy Johnson here as well? He's coming from the back. He's just putting down his kazoo. If you want to do the entire interview in kazoo, we're fine with that. Was that a sound effect, or did somebody just have cowbells in here? Dustin, how do you say your last name?
Grisnick.
Oh, that's better than I was going to do. I was just going to try to mumble out the last bit. I was going to be Grisnick. Yeah. So welcome here, guys. So how long have you guys been on the board here at the camp? Are you guys on the board here at camp?
I'm a stand-in. No, what was it, 7 years, Ted? Something like that?
Ted, you don't have a mic, please. You'll get your turn.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like a prison term.
Yeah.
You get out on good behavior eventually. And how about you, Darcy?
2012, I started.
I thought 20. At first I thought you said 20 years, and I was like, when did you start? That's great. So what got you guys connected with the camp originally?
Well, I'm a church rep, so my church needed a person to represent the church, and the camp needed someone to represent the camp back to the church and communicate that way. So I put my hand up for that to my pastor, and he said this would be a great fit. And so yeah, I was looking for some way to share my spiritual gifts. I'm a dairy farmer, so there's not many spiritual gifts shoveling manure, on the farm. So it was a real struggle for me.
They're on your side, you can see.
So, as a Christian, I was like, how can I, help out? How can I help out God's kingdom? And, I started coming here for the food.
Yeah. Yes.
As a church rep, I, helped communicate between the camp and my church, but the food made me stay at first. But then I started realizing what a great place this is, and yeah, I've just it's amazing. Every time we have a meeting, I'm just in awe of this place and the people that help out. So it's been great.
Awesome. And that, I guess, is your why. As we're going through this whole day, we're going to be finding out your. Do you want to tell us your why? How'd you get involved?
Why not?
Thank you.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay, we only need one comedian on this stage.
Full circle moment, I think. Coming here is with family camp with my family. Eventually going to high school camps, light force, that kind of thing. Done a little counseling after when they're short-staffed on male counselors. Seems like male counselors and lifeguards is kind of always our shortfall, and so we got to really scramble for that. So I remember the one time being definitely the oldest counselor. In the summer, it felt kind of weird. So I'm like, well, let's do something where I'm the youngest, and I jumped on the board. And so it's been good. There's so many things that point to God in this building, in this atmosphere, the way that the kids get to experience it. So again, it's simply why not? It's an incredible board to work with. A lot of wisdom on this board, and I'm gaining from it by being with those guys and ladies.
Yeah, I was sort of looking forward to interviewing Ted this year, but they said I don't get to. But I was with the 80th birthday here. I was looking forward to asking him how it was like in the beginning. But Ted can't even defend himself. It's so good. Well, thanks you guys so much. One last question. What do you got? You both farmers? Is that correct?
Correct.
So what's the biggest similarity to, farming and being on the board?
Still shoveling. No.
Thanks you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks you guys. Thanks for what you guys do on the board. All right. Well, I think we're doing pretty good. Ted, it's your time to shine. You get to come on up there and lead us in actual, meetings.
We're going to find out if that works for you guys. Is all good? Joel, thanks.
You're welcome.
I have no idea what noises we're going to hear from Joel. I'm pretty sure Joel doesn't know what Joel's going to do right now. This is a very cool and gorgeous podium from somebody, Irv Olfert in Lethbridge decided to make this, and it is gorgeous. You can see the logo. It's really nice. So we're grateful for that. Thank you all for coming. You also have a why. And I don't know all your whys, but do you know that an organization like this cannot do what this place does if you don't come to an AGM? We have to have an AGM to exist. You have a direct effect on everything we're going to hear about the why of SABC. So thank you for coming. You make a difference. Now, I think this collapsed. I'm not going to play with Jack. I mean, Scott, thanks for. No. It's not happy. I'm going to try to move through what I would describe as the formalities, the business part of the agenda, as expeditiously as possible. But if you at any time wish to ask a question, please let us know. Somebody in the back will tell me there's a question because I can't see you. Those lights are incredibly bright. So I'm on the agenda. You all got one if you picked up the package on the way in, and I would be on number 2, call to order. So this meeting is now in order, and we have an agenda. We have a quorum. The first item is to approve the minutes of the meeting November 5th, 2022. You have them in your book. The way we deal with this is I get them almost immediately after the meeting, within 24 to 48 hours. In this case, probably I'll get them Monday. I read them, I edit them, I send them back to Jody. We distribute them to the board gets to review them. And so we know in a very short period of time whether we've got the essence of the meeting captured and all the important business items. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes of the meeting November 5, 2022? Give me a name, and I can see Diane Lobenstein, thankfully. A second, please. And I've got John Hubert. Those are the only 2 names I know. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? That's carried. If you have any business arising, please let me know anytime in the next 5 minutes till I'm done here. George, I think the floor is yours. I'm going to turn over the meeting over to George, and he will assume the chair for a few minutes. I know he's here.
Okay, I serve as vice chairman as well as then the nominating committee or nominations committee, and I work with our board and various ones to discover who we have that can serve. And this year's a little easier. We're kind of repeating and bringing a number back. So I've got for nominations, Vice Chair George Budd, that's myself. Dustin Greenwich was up here a little bit ago. Trustee Heather McCoy. I don't know if Heather's here today or not. I think so. And then Curtis Kurtzwig as a director. So those are the positions we need filled, and those are the names that come to you from the nominating committee.
Are there any other nominations for any of the executive positions on the board? There being a none, I would like a second for George's motion to nominate these individuals. Is there a second? That would be Dave Coots. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. All opposed? Thank you and welcome to all of you, and thank you for your service. John, you're going to address retiring members later, are you? Thank you. Doug is the treasurer. By the way, just as a matter of process, there are 2 positions that we choose to appoint on the board. One of them is the treasurer, and the Constitution is clear that that's a position that's to be appointed, not elected. And we have the option in this meeting to elect a secretary. But for the last 12 or 14 years, we've chosen not to elect a secretary, and an empty position can be appointed by the board. And that is an incredibly useful opening for us, because we've chosen to ask the camp administrator to serve as our secretary to the board. And Jody Mowers, will ask her again, and then we'll appoint her at the first board meeting. Thank you very much. Doug, the floor is yours.
few days ago, I got an email from our infamous chairman. Doug, we have a lot of stuff to get through at the annual meeting. Keep your part short. Ted has never been known to be direct, but those lights are bright. Wow. So the audited statements, you have a copy, and the auditor's report is there. You can read it. I'm not going to go through it other than the first couple of paragraphs. The auditor indicates in their opinion that these financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. That is kind of a stamp of approval on the procedures of accounting and the presentation and the numbers before you. This is quite a little process to get to this stage of the game. Our year end, you can see on the next financial position page, is September 30th. So we have to get all of the numbers together and get a file prepared and presented and get to the auditor. And you'd think these auditors could move in some sort of short fashion, but we received these audited financial statements as you see them Thursday at about, I don't know, it was about 5:10 or something. So then from there, we have to get those to John so he can print them, so we can make sure that our next budget is presented and so forth and so on. Before we get into the numbers though, our office does a fair bit of work here. And a year ago, excuse me, I introduced a young lady that works a lot on the camp stuff. And then no sooner had we sort of give each other big hugs and we love what we're doing and everything else, she marched into my office and said, next week is my last day. See you, Sam. So, like, I am panicking because there's a lot of stuff goes on here and the staff needs paid and all the rest of that. But God provides. And I don't know, it was maybe a week later or something, I'm looking on this Indeed thing for employees and this resume pops up and I immediately send an email saying, we'd like to chat with you. And this little girl come in and chatted and I said, I think you got a job. Not sure if you're going to be able to do it, but you come and try and we'll work together. And it took Sam about, and I'm getting a little long-winded here, Ted, but this is important. It took Sam probably 10, 11 months to kind of get things so every month everything just clicked off and everything was good and the staff got paid and the payroll deductions got in and the gas bill got paid and so forth and so on. So anyway, a month or two and this lovely little girl had things pretty much nailed. I always say, and I think John would agree, God brings people into our lives and into our workplace, and it's a real God thing. So, Jovel, please stand. Okay, we'll make this short. The balance sheet, and as you remember and recall, we have different funds that we have to account for. At the end of September, you can see on the general fund, that's a column on the left, we had assets, current assets of 473,000. We had some prepaid expenses, 196. And we had some due to and due from the other funds because we operate just out of the general bank account. So if we spend money from capital, then that's a due from capital and so forth. So in the general fund, excuse me, we have total assets of 1,030,221. There's some liabilities there, few payables. We have a $60,000 indebtedness to ATB with respect to the CEBA funding, and that 60,000 the government lent businesses and individuals in $60,000. If you pay it back by January 18th, 2024, you only have to pay 40,000 back. So we'll realize a $20,000 gain there, and in the meantime, there's no interest payable on that at all. So the equity or unrestricted net asset in the general fund is $875,942. The other funds are there. You can see the revenues. I'll just mention all aboard fund. We have $227,000 in the all aboard fund. And the equity in all aboard is $216,033. And the all aboard fund is used to facilitate kids to come to summer camp that cannot afford it. And so we take money out of all aboard. And we'll see on the next statement that goes into our general operating fund. Maybe capital assets. I've talked to a couple of people before the meeting, and I think as you walk in the door, you just have to be in awe of what God has provided. Like, it's amazing, this room that we're in with all these bright lights and everything. Like, it's just amazing that God has provided, and we have $11,261,000 of equity in our capital assets, and not a penny owing with respect to those capital assets. Okay, over on the statement of operations, which you're probably more interested in. The second column in is what actually happened in fiscal September 30th, 2023. And you can compare that to the budget that we adopted last year on the left there. So our total revenues for the year, 2,346,000 in the general fund. And then the expenses there totaling 2,289,000. So we ended up in the general fund with a surplus of $57,000. We'd budgeted to come in at 15,000. The other funds there, money's in and money's out. The three endowment funds are funds that we give scholarships to summer staff that are going back to school. Capital fund is what we use to build the buildings here, plus any other capital assets that we purchase with regard to equipment or property upgrades, housing upgrades, and so forth. Make sure you ask any questions because we're kind of going through this quickly. But anyway, so then on the next page, we started with a general fund of 818. We had that surplus we just talked about, leaving 875 in the general fund. And then the various other funds there, all aboard. Like I said, we have 216,000 going into this next year. We raise around $100,000 each year that is added, and then we pay out of there. Maybe just go back one page. On the income side, you'll see there all aboard income. The second line from the bottom on the income side, 179,704. Do you see that number? That's the amount of money that we took out of the all aboard fund and transferred to general in allowing campers to come for the summer. So all the money raised in All Aboard goes into All Aboard, and then whatever we pay out comes out of All Aboard. You see that at the bottom on the expense side of All Aboard. So I think that's about it. There's some cash flow statements there. That's just money in the bank and money out kind of thing. If you wanted to look over to the notes on the capital asset side, note 5. So all in all, and this doesn't account for the many hours of donated labor and so forth, our total cost of assets that we've acquired over the years, 15,344,669. We take amortization against those assets to the amount of 4, and that 11 that I spoke to earlier is the amount of net capital assets that we show on our balance sheet. I think that's all I'll speak to. If you have any questions, I'd be more than willing to try and answer them.
I just want to acknowledge that's a new short record for Doug. And it's complete, but it is absolutely inspiring to see how God provides. When our staff and our treasurer, John and Doug, present us a proposed budget, it always looks difficult. And you can see there that there's almost $60,000 surplus that we've ended the year with. God is good. Doug's presentation constitutes a motion to adopt the audited financial statements. Is there a second for Doug's motion? That's Gunther Lobenstein. Any questions? All in favor say aye enthusiastically. Yes. All opposed? That's carried. Scott? The mic is yours again.
Kurt. Thank you, guys. That was great. Hard to compete with the energy you guys bring to that whole thing. If you noticed all the people that, forwarded a motion, second everything, they're all from my church I grew up with. So I come by speaking in public, honestly. Apparently, they all can't keep their mouth shut either. So we're about to do our top 10 list, the thing that everybody looks forward to every year. And I was talking to Tanya about this, and I had a bunch of ideas for top 10 lists this year. I had top 10 things that campers ask would be inappropriate anywhere else. She said no.
You're back.
Yeah. You do it.
Yeah, sorry, what? You sound a little funny there. Do you want to speak up a little bit?
All right, I can speak up. Is it good? Is that right here?
Let me just take a look here. You should be good now.
Okay. Guess who's running this show? Not me. I can tell you right now. Normally, I get to make everybody uncomfortable, but he's on top of it. Then I turned to Tanya and said, okay, so the top 10 reasons why Tanya is better than John, and she thought that might get complicated. So anyways, we eventually landed on the top 10 best things about waterfront this year. No, nobody. Did anybody come to camp this year? Did anybody see the waterfront as it went on and on and on out into the lake? So you're going to need to know that the water was very low this year for any of these jokes to work. All right, here we go. Top 10 best things about waterfront this year. Long walks on the beach are great for summer romances. Oh yeah, that one worked. That was good timing. Yeah. I mean, I missed the window. I'll move this way. We found a lost canoe. The canoers got to learn how to portage this year.
Oh, sorry. Won't happen again.
I'll hold it up like this, and then we'll flick and
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay. Now I feel like we're at the Catholic Church. All right. Number 7, the ability to find the rock that you skipped. Number 6, kids learned about sedimentation this year. Need better cardstock next year. All right, number 5, finally able to mow the bottom of the lake. Number 4, lifeguards got their steps in this year. All right, number 3, less wear and tear on the new dock surface. We had to pull it. Well, that was a good one. All right, number 2, found a pocket knife I lost back in 1989.
Oops, sorry.
And the number 1 reason that it was the best waterfront this year, we found a new land route to the fort. You don't have to go over the hill anymore. Yeah. All right. We made it through. You all caught up. I'm proud of you. All right, Tanya, it's time for your time to shine up here on this stage. Let's find my Tanya cards. Everybody, let's Tanya to the stage here. So, Tanya, I call you Tony.
Yep, you
How
do.
How do you feel it's going so far?
You know, I spend a lot of time in prayer.
Yeah.
You've been good for my prayer life most of my life, so I feel like a bit of a prayer warrior. So I just take my game up a notch on days like today.
I've had there's a lot of people. I inspire people to pray.
It's
You know,
true.
God brings us all here for a different reason.
It's true. It's good.
So how was the year? Do you want to say anything about, how'd the summer go?
Summer was good. Summer was we had more campers than we had the year before, and our theme was treasure hunters, and had just a year of talking about a summer of talking about God being our treasure, us being His greatest treasure, and just kind of leaning into what it looks like to be on a treasure hunt in our faith, in looking for and seeing what God is doing and how He works all around us all the time. And so, lots of amazing stories with campers and staff, and our support staff were maxed out, which was amazing, which are our high school students that come and volunteer for kind of 2-week chunks. So it was a great summer. We had a lot of fun. And we had enough lifeguards and enough male cabin leaders. So it was a miracle. It was a miracle summer in lots of ways. So
now you and I had talked last night that since you had seen John's script, we would probably just steal all his thunder, and I would ask you to talk about his stuff. Is there anything of John's talk that you want to talk about so he sounds silly later?
Well, I was looking over it, and I just felt we could probably do something a little more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. He's a bad influence on me.
He comes up later, so he has every chance to
I know.
retaliate. So you talk about why, and and all these people here. When we learn about the camp's why, everybody here is so wonderful to say why not. When you guys say we need more funds to help a camper come to camp, they say why not, and that's because of the whys that happen here. Is there some stories that you can share with us about some of the whys that have happened at camp this summer?
Yeah. Through COVID, as we were kind of like, who are we and what are we? If we can never do camp again, who are we and why do we exist? With faith that we would get to do kids camp again. But it gave us this opportunity to kind of like pull back from what we just do all the time and that we've been doing for years and years and years, and ask why again, I think. And so just leaning into that why has been really important. And as I've been here for about 6 years, and camp gets talked about as a bubble all the time. And I have found myself wanting to kind of challenge that a little bit, because what we do here, what we experience, what we teach, and what we learn is not fragile like a bubble. It is solid. It is ground breaking and ground building. And it's that special place. It's set apart in a lot of ways, but it's not fragile. And so I think a big part of helping to reshape and encourage our staff in particular and our campers to take what they have here, this why that they experience, and take it home, is to kind of reframe that and kind of to kind of help us see that this isn't just this moment in time, but it's more than that. And so at Focus Weekend, I said to our staff, I said, you can ask me the why on anything that we do. We think about everything that we do under the banner of why not, and why do we do it? Like, come to the mission and vision to see lives transformed by God through the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's the why. We do that through inspiring and encouraging and challenging campers and developing Christian leadership in young adults. And so that's easy to say and it's easy to put on a wall, but that why needs to translate into what we do. And so I had said, I was leading a session and I said, ask me anything. Ask me about schmuck, which is a long-time traditional game. Ask me about cabin calls. These things that appear silly. Feel free to ask me the why, because I was like, I don't have time to talk about right now. We need to keep going. So left it at that. And so that's like the middle of June. And so about the middle of August, I had one of our staff who had done Teleos a year or two ago. I was sitting outside the nurse's station waiting for a camper, which is a different story. And this camper said, hey, at Focus Weekend, you said I could ask you why. And I was like, absolutely, ask me why. And he said, why do we do schmuck? Like, why do we do that game? Like, they love it, but why? And so so why do we do schmuck? It is a game that matters in its silliness. And so if you don't know that game, all the staff hide and then the campers find them. The camp staff that you find, you can get to schmuck them in the face with shaving cream, and then they go jump in the lake, not the campers, the staff. They run for a really long time out to the water, dip, tip, and just come back out because it took a long time. But and so it seems silly and frivolous. And so my why for understanding why we do that is that there is an autonomy that kids get to have that is not in their world. They get to run around this place with a sense of freedom and a sense of fun and freedom. There's a power exchange that happens, a really healthy power exchange that happens between a camper and a staff as they get to win and then schmuck them. There's really healthy physical touch that's difficult in the world right now with kids and really good healthy adults. And there is and it's a ton of fun. And for kids and young adults to have fun together in a way that brings about relationship and shared experience. And then that leads to conversations. And maybe you're like, okay, Tanya, it makes sense. But a proof of that is last year, one of our campers got to schmuck one of our support staff. And they were just a year or two apart, and but got to schmuck one of our support staff, and they became friends and kind of lived in the same community and got to know each other and stayed in contact all year. And then that young support staff invited that camper to come on support staff, and they came and worked in the kitchen for 2 weeks together this summer. And this young support staff then had their life and their faith deeply impacted by being on the staff team this year. So a simple game that's done on purpose with the why at the forefront.
And that's why we have
brings it.
cans of shaving cream here today. We're all going to smuck each other.
Yeah. So that why is grounding
Yeah.
for all that we do in all of those things. So even something simple as a game, we think about the why.
So you talked about like how, you have speakers come in or impacting kids' lives. You had a special speaker come in this year. Why don't you talk about having Bria here this year?
That is true. We our chapels are awesome. For kids, we have we had Trisha Eichhorst and Melissa Gartley teach our morning chapels, and then our support staff teach our evening chapels. And then for our junior and senior highs, we bring in speakers to kind of take our theme to a level for those for those students. And Scott is referring to our oldest daughter, Bria, came and spoke at one of our senior high camps this year. She has her bachelor's degree in youth ministry, and it was just a real privilege. And honestly, a big part of the why is to see speakers come and share their heart. And it was amazing to see my daughter share the gospel and to interact with these young campers and to get to be a part of the story of what God is going to do in their lives. It was pretty incredible. And she also has a baby, which in turn is my granddaughter. And so there was a whole week with my granddaughter here, which was the best. Yeah, her name is Macy. And if you want to see pictures, I have just 2. Just kidding. I have a million, but yes, anyways, that's a sidebar.
Yeah. And she was a camper here back in the day.
Bria was a camper here, yeah. And yeah, so it was neat for her to come back around full circle and to get to see her. It was amazing. Yeah.
Should we bring up some of the support staff and talk to them?
Sure. Let's bring up a couple of staff members. Yeah.
Staff members? But
Staff.
I don't know who these people
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to find out when they
Perfect.
come up here.
Yeah.
Jackson and Grace, you want to come, risk having a microphone with me? Yeah. All right. Join me on the couch. This is the hot seat. Which one of you is more nervous to be talking to me?
I think I am.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous. I don't know.
You do seem very worked up, Jackson. Okay, so what is it that you guys do here?
Like right now?
right now, everybody knows you're being interviewed. Any help from nothing? Okay.
Sorry, it's not funny yet.
Okay. No, what do you do here at staff or at camp?
This past summer, I was the resident director. So all of the under, or some of them are over 18, but mostly under 18 volunteer staff that comes and works during the summer. Me and my who isn't here today, were kind of overseeing and running their experience at camp. So doing chapels and setting up activities and just kind of hanging out with them and getting to know them. Yeah.
That's great.
And I was a cabin circle director of Lakeside, which is the newer cabins. And with my he's not here too. He's far. And it was just a lot of fun. We got to speak in chapels. We got to run games. We just kind of just facilitated their week and just made it as fun as possible. We just it was just a lot of fun. Yeah.
So why did you say why not and come to camp?
I think I cabin led the summer before this past one. I don't know what year that is, and I don't want to do the math to figure it out.
I know math is hard.
And cabin leading, it was just, I don't know. I just really saw God move in a lot of really cool ways. And so basically immediately after summer, I knew I wanted to come back again. I didn't know exactly where. So applied to resident director and a few other things and kind of ended up there. And then I think my why more developed as I was working here too. And it sort of became, I just really think the only thing that really matters to me in life is that the world knows Christ and knows God. And camp is just such a perfect environment to foster that. It's separate from the world and all of the negative influences and outside forces. And when campers and staff come, they don't have their phones, so they're not anything like that. And every interaction they have here is meant to point them towards Christ. So in my pursuit of, serving the Lord, camp is just an incredible environment to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also was a cabin leader last year, and I just had so much fun just being so intentionally put with a group of kids for just a week and just getting to know them and getting to know them deeper in their faith journey. And it was just so fun. And I applied actually to be a cabin leader again. Tanya was like, what about this? And I prayed about it. I talked, and God led me here back again as a Lakeside. My why not is it's just such a it's so intentional. And I think that's just so special to have an intentional place where you can just intentionally just look at a kid and just be like, hey, Jesus loves you. And I'm going to make sure that this experience, and I'm going to make sure that I love on you the way that I can for an entire week, just so it's just you, because God loves you so much. And I would just want to show you that through my actions and through just having fun and having just the time of our lives here at camp.
I'm sure there's like a million stories of how kids impacted your life, how you got to impact theirs. Do you guys have a quick story that you could share about how, a kid's, like just a story about a kid here at camp this summer?
Yeah, I think, there's so many, too many. One that I think really impacted me a lot was we had a staff come it would have been staff come in like segments of 2 weeks. And it was the third and fourth week. And he came basically only because his girlfriend was here, and he had like no relationship with the Lord really. And he had been to church essentially for like Christmas service and stuff like that. And like the first day he was here, I had a conversation with him where he just described being really uncomfortable and not wanting to be here, and didn't know why he was here. So I made it clear that my intentions were only to love him and make him feel like he was seen and understood, and not to convert him necessarily, but simply to love him and let the Lord take it from there. And over the next 2 weeks, the Lord did take it from there. Every night I would go and we have a devotional that we do all summer, and I would read over the devotional with him and explain it to him, and we'd talk about it. And then he was on our maintenance crew, so he would go in the morning, do devos with Barry and John, and just hearing them talk about how he was engaging and interacting was so it was so neat to see him taking that step. And it eventually all culminated when me and my had this special chapel that we do where we go up on Cross Hill and we read the crucifixion, and out of Matthew this year we did. And that was planned through a lot of prayer. And we essentially only read scripture. We talked for maybe like a minute, but the point is just to let the crucifixion sink in on its own. So we didn't say much. But the one time we went up there and we read Matthew, and afterward, and it's always special, there's always repentance and people coming to the Lord, and it's really cool. But this one time specifically, this kid, he comes up and he prays for me, which I was not expecting him to do. He prayed for me, and then we sat for about an hour and a half up there, and he talked about all his fears of the Lord and why he was scared of God and why he was scared to give his life to the Lord. Yeah, and then at the end of it all, he did give his life to the Lord. Yeah, and it was really, this was really cool. Yeah, to see God take someone from 0 to 100 in only 2 weeks, all because of what this place is and does. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you want to sign up for next year already, eh?
Yes, I hear that.
That's amazing. What about Grace?
I just would be, my stories is kind of just like, I've seen it over and over where it's like a kid comes and they're only there because of their parents, or they're only there because their friends are there. And then they come, they don't want anything to do with any of the chapels. They don't want to be in chapels. And just the consistent loving that the cabin leaders, let me shout, we had amazing cabin leaders this year. And it was just so special to see them, how they just intentionally loved on their kids, and intentionally was just they were so present, and they were so affirming of what those kids were feeling, and see them by the end of the week just share so much. And I remember just listening from the kids' perspectives, campers' perspectives, and the cabin leaders of what the kid has gone through in their home life, and then they'll start sharing, and then they'd start being like, this is why I came in like this, but you loved me despite it. And like, I see God. And it's just always just so cool and so encouraging for me to be like, oh my goodness, God is moving so powerfully, even when we don't see it, any change. Like, he is still we're still planting seeds, and we're just waiting for them to grow. And it's just so great to see it every single week. Kids love it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Tanya, do we have a, go ahead,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want shout out to the cabin leaders. But yeah, we just have an incredible team of staff. I mean, and I feel like as I make notes and I like, what can I say? And I feel like I say the same things every year. Like, God is so, so good. He's so faithful. He brings amazing staff that are going to just walk out the why. They're going to put the gospel in front of everything that they do. And that is my why, is getting to make a path and to set these guys and have them say yes to what God invites them to do and what I corral them to do some days. But that's the why, is to be able to have spaces, to have conversations, whether that is what young staff get to do for volunteering all day or campers get to play, and a combination of both, but just to get to work with you guys. So thank you for your why and for your yes this summer and next. And always recruiting. Yeah, so that's the why. So I hope you guys hear that. And we're actually going to move into a video that shares just about the why, and from a number of our staff throughout the summer. So we're going to watch video. Thanks you guys so much. To spend at least one summer or a set of weeks at summer camp, especially here at SABC, is to do something that's bigger than yourself, that is focused on looking for what God is doing and trusting God and people who are pursuing God to give you the opportunity to do something that is really truly kind of focused on that. And I think that transfers to all of the rest of life. It doesn't just live here. I think coming to camp and spending one summer or many summers at camp to learn all kinds of communication skills and interpersonal dynamic skills, growing in your faith, doing things that are outside of your strengths as well as leaning into your strengths, and having people around you build you up and challenge you and call you up, and to walk in your faith in community that happens in a unique way. And it's just a lot of fun. That's a big part of camp. If it didn't have some fun, I don't think it'd be totally camp. Strangely, one of the things that I love is actually sitting in really hard places with staff when they are feeling like they have run up against their ability to see what's next, or to kind of get unstuck, or to find a way through in working with somebody, and getting to come alongside and be a part of how God reveals in them how to rely on Him and trust the people around them in this body. My personal why was to step into an opportunity that was going to be bigger than me, to do something, to align myself with something that God was doing, and to get to see God move in ways that I don't know that I would get to in a lot of other places. And I think within that it is about campers and having them encounter Jesus and have a space for curiosity and fun and adventure. And the very first step of that is staff care and staff development, and just working with the young people and the young adults and the teenagers that make camp happen for campers. So yeah, it's God's people is why I'm in camp. What is your why for coming to camp this summer?
We came to camp to serve our Lord and to lighten the load of the full-time staff.
And to have fun doing it.
After going to Bible school, I wanted to share what I've learned with other people, and I thought camp would be a good place for that. to learn something new and to meet some new people.
Because I live here.
To serve God in the Christian community the best I can.
I just don't think there is a better place for me to work in summer doing a more impactful thing. So, what's more important than sharing Jesus, sharing the good news?
I wanted to give the same experience to kids that I've been given to in the past for being here as a camper, and it's been lots of fun, so I want kids to have the same experience.
To share the gospel with kids and plant those seeds, as well as grow in my own faith and develop my own leadership skills.
I enjoy the sense of community and belonging here.
Because God sent me here.
The mission of SABC and our why is to see lives transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Because I live here?
My wife working at camp is just awesome. You know, it's like you just do fun things all day and you get to see awesome people and you get to work with awesome people.
Why I worked at camp is because I wanted to come here and experience all the amazing things that it had to offer and work with my uncle and have lots of fun hanging out with you guys.
Camp is a really fun place and God's work is done here. And to work here, I got to do it for free instead of paying to be a camper.
I am at camp because the Lord brought me here. And Jesus loved me through camp. And that changed my life when I was in grade 10. And now I'm finishing university and I still love it.
So as a camper here, I always felt so loved and so at home and so safe here. And they were part of the main reasons for my faith journey. And so I just want to do that for my own kids, not my own kids, but like the kids I lead, and be able to create a safe, open environment where they can grow closer to Jesus. What's your why for Camp M?
What else would I do?
Last year was life-changing, so I had no other choice. Also,
Wait, move.
I feel like it's not really work. You know that old saying where it's like, you never work a day in your life when you love work? Something like that. That's how it's like here.
I love people and I love caring for people and pouring joy into them and community and building new relationships and caring for campers that need to be cared for.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, you looked really weird from my angle, by the way.
Thank you. I'm sure you'd say that right from here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you staying over
No, I'm going to
there?
go over again. We had a quick, we jump into the next thing, we had a quick question texted in just asking about how kids, some of the follow-up with kids and how they campers and going to church and kind of what that looks like. And in this day and age, it's really hard to kind of like help that along just with some of the privacy laws and just the scope and that we have. And so as you can see in your AGM book, over 300 Bibles were given out, and which is, the biggest way that we can send kids home with the gospel is to put it right in their hands. And church life is a really important part of your life and my life. And we want to connect kids to local bodies. And so we have, found that to be a challenge in figuring out how to do that. And this year we had given the kids kind of trading cards every evening with their Bible stories. And at the end of the week, they got a little card that just said "What next?" with a QR code on it. And that QR code sent them to a place on our website that had different questions that they might ask about their faith, that their parents might ask about their faith, as well as a list of churches, ones that are connected to our body here at SABC, as well as partner churches. And so just trying to put churches and opportunities and names and places that they can connect and try to make that something that we can hand off well. And our cabin leaders, talk about it. There was one camper story this year that during that week, one of the young ladies in this junior high cabin gave her life to Christ, and some of the other girls in their cabin they began to, of course, got to know each other and realized they lived in the same area and invited her to come to church. And so we can't take every single one of these kids to church, but our cabin leaders and the things that we put in our kids' hands, we do our best. We try to point them to what is next after camp, because this is this beautiful set apart place, and we take it with us when we go from here. So yeah, I just wanted to touch base on that question.
That's
so
great.
Thanks for that.
We only have a couple more minutes together. Do you want to talk about Flex? Is there anything else about what camp is that you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about, Tanya?
Yeah, we should.
You're in charge. You tell me.
Yeah, we will touch really quickly on Flex. Flex is happening this year. There is a write-up in your book, so take a look there. But we are so excited to have 4 of our Flex students joining us for this year. And
Are they here now?
they are.
Do you want to embarrass them or something?
I
Where
do.
are they?
There is one on that camera, and
Nod your camera if you know.
2 right up here in the front. And so, yeah, they greeted you downstairs if you saw them. And so they have been serving and living and adventuring and learning here together in life and community and faith and life skills. And so we're super excited and to see that why extended into their year.
What is Flex?
Flex is
Did you say it already?
gap year type program where students stay and live here on site, live in community, read the Bible out loud, and study and share in community and learn to cook for themselves. Sometimes they're learning that. And they do a number of out trips. And so ask them what it is. They're wearing Y buttons. So Micah and Isaac and Kennedy and Megan are our Flex students with Charlie as our director. And so it's amazing. And they all have a Y. They were all on staff this summer, and this is that extended piece of their Y. So we're excited to have them.
Is this a program that, like, sometimes we call it like a gap year type program?
Yeah.
That's, so
similar.
If people out here have like a student that's maybe leaving high school, or they're not sure what they want to do with university or college, or starting a career, like, this is a place. How many kids could you guys, or young adults, can you have in a Flex program here?
It's a quality question.
That's my whole job here. I have one job.
I know. I think, we could do a lot of students. I think our ideal is to have it be kind of in a sweet spot. Probably around 8 to 10 would be a sweet spot for good community and really good spiritual development in this environment as they come alongside staff and work in different departments like the kitchen and learning to do oil changes and helping kind of in the running of the camp. That's a really good sweet spot. So we have 4 and they're pretty sweet. And so, and they're living at the fort. But anyways, I don't need to talk about it. You can ask them. And we also asked them their why for Flex.
All right. We have another video?
Yeah. So
all right,
as we wrap up, so thank you guys for listening and hearing from our staff their why. You can hear from our Flexers, and thank you.
Flexers.
Hey, camp family.
I'm Charlie. I'm the Flex director, and these are our Flex participants of 2023 and 2024, and we are going to share a bit of our experience with you today.
My name is Kennedy Hazelar, and I joined the Flex program because I wanted to be here out at camp, and also I did Teleos, so I thought that Flex would be a great way for me to spend my year.
My name is Micah Keller, and I joined the Flex program because one time someone told me that college is an investment for your life, but Bible college is an investment for your eternity. And that really hit me. And so I decided, instead of just jumping straight into college, I was going to look for a Bible college to do. And Flex just fits that bill perfectly. It's 1 year, and it focuses on developing your relationship with God and learning to love others as well.
My name's Isaac, and I joined the Flex program because I would like to instill some good habits, good Bible reading habits, and hopefully just grow up my faith a bit more.
My name is Megan, and I decided to join the Flex program at the end of the summer. And I decided to join it because I didn't know what I was going to do this year, and I wanted to do something that would help me grow my faith and grow closer to God. I just decided that I love camp and I love everyone here, so it'd be a great place to spend my next 2 semesters.
I get to experience a lot of cool things. I get to experience a lot of new things that I've always wanted to do, and really getting to have some time set aside to read the Bible a lot. I never really had like a time to sit down for an hour or two and just read.
Life at Flex has been really good. We've gone on an out trip canoeing around the lake and also an out trip backpacking on Mount Lyle, which has been super fun.
And on one of the days, we tried to summit the mountain. So we just hiked as high up the mountain as we could. We didn't get to the top, but we got to 8,240 feet above sea level.
It's been so much fun getting to know the group and getting to learn stuff around camp, like learning a bunch of tips in the kitchen and going to help out and serve in the churches for youth events.
God has really just been teaching me that I can lean wholeheartedly on Him in my times of struggle, and that I can lean on other people who love Him.
Something God's taught me since I started Flex is how important Christian community is and how uplifting it can be.
God has taught me to really lean on Him and to surrender to Him daily for comfort, for guidance, and for strength.
All right. John Gartley, it's your time to shine. You were distracted. You get to come up here and talk to me. It's your favorite time of year when you get interviewed by me. He does not his favorite time of year. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Hi. How's your year going? I'm sure everybody, I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm sure everybody here at least has an inkling about a little bit of what's going on in your life. And I thought that we would just ask you to share a bit of your story. You were diagnosed with cancer this year. And I'm sure everybody wants to know how you're doing, how it went, and the miracles that happened to keep you here with us.
Well, I mean, I could talk all day about all the miracles and all the cool things. But yeah, I mean, the best thing is I just got some good news on Thursday that I don't have to have chemotherapy treatment. So the surgeon kind of got it all off.
That is awesome.
So, yeah.
Because your hair does not need any more help on its journey here. Thank you.
No, it's been neat, Scott. Like I could be sitting here right now and not knowing anything's wrong with me because I didn't actually go to the doctor because something was wrong. Though now I know that something was wrong if we were really honest with each other. But we just got on a doctor's list and she checked me out. And anyways, went down that journey, and you can imagine kind of people have gone through this kind of. I think the thing is waiting, right? Waiting to the next. What is it? How far is it? What's next? That's the waiting game, right? And
the stress of it, not knowing, it's awful. I mean, there's the stats show that everyone here has been touched by cancer in some way, shape, or form, or a family member or somebody they love, and it is a hard journey. And we're glad that you're come out the other side as the way you have, and I know that your family, I'm sure, is relieved. And we also we're grateful you're here, and we want to give thanks to God for bringing you through this journey so well.
I just want to say this too. Like, I don't know, there's just moments through the whole thing, but I mean, I've been able to connect with other people who are taking chemotherapy treatments now, and even from one friend of mine who lives with cancer. But he just texted me, says, I've committed to praying for you every day, John. And that kind of hit me a little hard, actually, because I couldn't remember the last time I prayed for him. Right. But I think coming out again, or just whatever, even the challenge of it, it's just that little phone call or that text or that, hey, how are you doing, was just incredible. And so I'm very thankful for that.
No, it's amazing. When we hear that word cancer, our heart just, our stomach drops, our heart drops. It changes the way we view the world. Like, how has going through that journey, how has it changed your why?
Oh man, I think it's just being aware of the people around me that are living it, right? And the why for being here. I mean, I'm not sure if that has changed my why here. My why here has always been, I mean, I just don't think there's a more effective way to introduce people to Jesus than camp. I don't. And I mean, life is fleeting, man. So I mean, yeah, there was we were thinking about buying a house in Lomond, so that if I died, Melissa could at least still have a house and a job. You know, like those kind of things go through your mind, right?
Yeah.
And because they were going to kick her out of the house here at the camp. So,
Yeah, no, I know. I heard the reports. They were knocking on the door.
But you know, I mean, it's just, you know, I think the things in my life, the changes for me are just being aware of people around me that are dealing with things and just trying to be that, hey, how are you doing? Hey, I'm checking in on you. Hey, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
So,
well, thanks for sharing with us. I know it's never easy. I know you have more to share. I'll leave you to do that.
We're done?
I know I didn't even embarrass you that bad. I mean, the hair thing was a bit of a low blow, I guess, but yeah.
Oh, thanks, Scott. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah. Is there?
I'm going to go up there.
Okay, you go up there. I'll step off.
Just want to thank you all for coming. This is a special day for me personally. So this is all about me, right? But being able to see old friends and people that I don't get to see, you know, sometimes for a year and sometimes for many, many years. There's a friend that came down from Rocky Mountain House and came down here, used to be on our board. So good to see him and others of you too. So thank you. It's pretty special to have you. Thank you for the prayers and your support. Again, like I said there, more than ever, I think SABC is having an impact in ways that we can't even imagine, that are far reaching and far beyond the scope of what we are able to do on our own. It's remarkable. So I'm going to give a little bit of a report here. There was some reports last year of like, you know, Scott's great, but this has to be an AGM, so there has to be a report. And Scott is great. I'd rather listen to him all day than being up here, but I'm trying to do, you know, my job as a director is just to give a little bit of report, how the camp is and where we're going and where we're headed. It was a privilege for me to work side by side with members of my family this summer. So as we've lived here, my kids have all been born here, not here, but Lethbridge, but they've grown up here. And they all served this summer in camp this summer. And it was such a joy to watch them and to work side by side with them. Melissa helped with chapels and a lot of other things through the summer as well. So it's a real family affair here. I wanted to acknowledge, so you can put this picture up here. Joel?
I do have it. Sorry, one second. There we go.
There we go. Does anybody know who that is? That is Cameron Van Roon. That was back in 1993. And Cam has, as you've noticed in our elections, he's gone off the board. He's retired, I guess, off the board. And I wanted to say thank you to him. He's not here today. I had other pictures as well, but we'll just leave it with this one. I had other stories to tell as well, but he should be here for those stories. But, you know, Cam is a long-serving member, and it's just want to acknowledge the fact that he was here and he did this, and very thankful for his part on our board. I love working with our board, and we're going to miss him, but that's fine. We've got a good team there. We've been talking about the why of camp. Warms my heart to hear stories, these guys, like these young people that are up here. And the young people that are all around here wearing these, what is this? Ask about my why. They're not just there just for a little thing. Like, you're supposed to actually ask them about their why out in the foyer or at lunch. Please just ask them. They've got stories to share about how the Lord, why they're at camp and what the Lord does. And so anyways, it's a privilege for me to see the Lord do this week after week and year after year of changing lives. It's about lives being transformed at Southern Alberta Bible Camp. As I said, that's my why as well. I'm going to give a short report on what's gone on around here and then talk about the future. Our operation, again, you looked at these notes, all right? It's not really boring. Oh, I got a job. Shoot. I'm not allowed to say boring because I said it again. Because my mother-in-law will give me a job, but that's fine. I'll do it happily. But you've been already able to hear about our summer camp programming and the ministry that goes on. The primary focus of our ministry is the summer camp programs. So that's the primary ministry of our camp. We are here because we're a summer camp, and we're here because we're a youth summer camp. So we want our camps, kids to come and to be a part of something so that we can introduce them to Jesus. That's why we're here. Our team does an incredible job of sharing God's love with these kids. And Tanya is in charge of the program division, what do we call it, division, or the part of the camp of that. And she manages it very well. You know, there's so many hurting and confused kids today. Our hope is that camp provides a place where they can have a reprieve from some of their challenges as they experience new things and as they interact with our great summer staff. You know, they talked about how our staff love these kids. It's remarkable. This summer, I think is the first summer. I don't know if I've, in the last 20 years or 30 years, sent 4 kids home from summer camp. But this summer, we had to, in the span of 1 or 2 days, I had to send 4 kids home for different reasons. And it breaks my heart that we had to do that. But to see our staff work with those children and just love those children, it was remarkable. And I even interact with one of the parents in Lethbridge. I see him at the Costco, for crying out loud, and I connect with him. And he says, he even asks, is my kid going to be able to come back? And he talks about the challenges that he faces with this kid, but he knew he loved being here at camp, even though he needed to be sent home. And that's because of our staff. Now, I'm the big bad director, I have to send them home, but they know that they're loved by the people here. And it stays in their heads. And I'm hoping that, especially, well, all 4 of those, I hope they all come back. And they're all welcome to come back. You know, Tanya's leadership and her deep care for people is one of the reasons that we were able to attract good, hardworking people to work in the summers. We didn't have, back in May, we were having problems finding people, but if you really think of it, we had everybody that we needed and in abundance. And the quality of our staff is just remarkable. So very thankful for her team, for Charlie, for Josh, for Jordan, and so that's part of that. And you've already heard stories again of the summer camps. But when we move into our other divisions, so our guest services department. So you see all these ladies here today. We're busy year round. Like Lori Raleigh, she is our guest services manager. She manages this division. So our cooks work with her, our housekeeping staff. Dave and Jason are awesome. Anna and Tina and Nita, they work hard to clean this place. There's a lot going on here. And then coordinating the different groups and the programs and all these kind of things, that's all on Lori's plate. And our rental season has exploded over the past couple of years. You see a building like this, it's finally not a secret. Well, it still is a secret because people come and they say, wow, what's this doing here? But more and more groups are coming here. School groups are loving coming here. And the piece that I love is when our mission of the camp to see lives transformed by God is facilitated through these groups. So this ladies groups, for instance, their mission is to see they want their ladies to be changed by being here. They want to be encouraged. And we're able to do that by cooking them food and providing a facility. The challenges that we face as an organization are simply limited to the amount of staff that we have, the staff that we can actually house. We've been trying to address that a little bit. We've hired a hosting crew this year. People are coming and helping us on weekends and serving and doing dishes. And there's a few of them here this weekend, just helping with that. So to alleviate some of the work that our staff have had to do, our full-time staff have had to do in past years. We're still looking for ways to address some of this. And you know what? We may be limited, and that's fine. I appreciate how Lori sees rentals as a ministry opportunity as well. And I believe all of our staff see this. Our staff provide great service and hospitality, and they prepare amazing food, which show genuine love to these young people these people from all different walks of life. So I recently received a touching email. We have this group called Eastside that comes here every year, right after summer camp. Eastside is on the east side of Calgary. I think it's kind of funny. I grew up on the east side, northeast side of Calgary, and they're just like, whoa, you're from the northeast Calgary. You grew up there. Whoa. Northeast Calgary has a little bit of a reputation, but it's a total multicultural group that comes. It's amazing. These young people are just on fire, and these leaders are on fire. And this one lady, she just she just loves coming here. And so when I talk about this is their one experience of Southern Alberta Bible Camp, is 1 week after summer, in our rental group. But she writes, I haven't been to your campsite for a couple years. Coming back this year with all the new development, I just wanted to say congratulations. I remembered when there wasn't heating in the cabins, and now there's even a fire pit for the girls' side. I've been coming to SABC with Eastside since I was 15 as a camper. I fell in love with being blessed with the opportunity to get away from the city and draw closer to God in His creation, even though at that time we were only coming for a few days and nights, which never felt like enough time. So she's turning 8. She says, I'm turning 28 in January, and SABC has come more like a second home away from home. I always feel so comfortable and at ease when I'm there. The food is amazing, and now there's heated cabins. I don't know. I think they were heated back then, but I don't know. It did dawn on me on how long I'd been coming until I saw your son, who was adopted. And I remember when he first welcomed to your family, and we were all playing basketball together. Now he's about my age when I first started coming, and now I feel old. But she says, me coming this year was God sent, because He told me to come to camp, and He didn't let anything stop me from coming. Being back at home, I'm just really now reaping the benefits of being obedient. And she goes on to say, congratulate us and tell us to continue to be blessed for what we do here. I think when churches are able to fulfill their mission here at Southern Alberta Bible Camp, we are fulfilling our mission. It's crazy. Again, just last weekend, we had Center Street Church youth were here. They brought over 220 kids for a youth retreat. It was wild. So we're very, very thankful for that. The last division is our properties division. It's led by John Keller. We've got Barry Weaver and Peter Banman. He's our newest employee here. Our staff have a million ideas, good ideas and dreams for this place. But we usually have to rely on the properties and facilities division to get it done, because I don't know how to build stuff, right? And it can be a little bit overwhelming at times, and it has been. And things break, and they have to be repaired. And we own boats. And the acronym for boat is bring out another 1,000. It isn't always true, but We run boats here, and it's just keeping them running and keeping them fueled and keeping the boat lifts going. Like, it's a full-time job to do that, and it increases the difficulty when you have water that's like, we have to pull our docks out, so we can't even go on the docks. So we have to wade it's crazy, but it's a job that it gets done, and the properties division does it. The amount of grass that we have here and all these kind of things, the list goes on and on. So again, one of the challenges we got all these teams and ideas, and trying to work with John and his team to kind of figure out, okay, well, we can't do it all. We need other people to help us do it. And so just trying to figure that out. Our capital budget this year kind of reflects that a little bit. We're just trying to get some projects done and trying to make it manageable. We want to do more. We just can't right now. Where am I going? We're thankful for the many people giving hundreds of hours. I think it's written in the thing. We had a couple volunteers this summer, 3 actually. So Jerry DeYoung came and he just said, hey, you got work for me? And did we put him to work? And he just came, and he loves being here. He loves being part of the team. And he got stuff done that just would never have gotten done without him being here. We had Don and Murray and Bergen. They're 2 of our, we call them camp grandparents. They're down in Arizona or Texas right now. And they're going to come back up next spring and just put their trailer here, and they're going to be here for 6 months. Just the amount of, again, work and the ability for us to have extra hands around here is just so amazing. There are a couple of electricians who give and give and give, and they put new heaters in cabins. Ted told you about this. You know, I wouldn't have even thought to ask somebody to build this, but it was just built, and now it's here, and now we're going to use it all the time. If you walk through our lodge, you'll see coffee tables. There's one in the front lobby. There's some in the den and the loft and then downstairs. Those were all done by one of our sporters, and they're beautiful. We could never have done that ourselves. And so there are many people that give to this ministry, and I really believe that it is because of the why. Like, it isn't just because we're a coffee table company, a place that needs coffee tables. Like, Dennis built those things because he loves what the ministry stands for and what we're doing. And he takes pride in what he does and the way that he can contribute, which is quite remarkable. And I see this over and over and over. This past summer, we had our fire pump break down. It's kind of bad when you have a fire, but we've never had a fire, so whatever. But it required a circuit board, and you wouldn't imagine how much that would cost. So we had a company come in recently, and they fixed it. And we got a bill in the mail for $15,000 to replace a circuit board and pump. Well, at the same time, we received a check in the mail for $15,000 from the company. And I texted the owner to thank him. And this was his response. He said, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to help SABC provide the opportunities for our young leaders. Your team is very much appreciated. Our family will never be able to reciprocate the generosity and compassion provided to our daughter and all the other young leaders. I'm sure you hear this more often than not. SABC saved our daughter. For this, we will forever be grateful. We didn't save her daughter. Truly believe it is the Lord working in and through what this camp is and what it's about. That's what saved her daughter. But as a way, that's his why. As we look to the future, and specifically this coming year, sorry, I'm going to go back one sec. I want to tell you these stories. I think you people here, I think I tell you some of these stories is because, first of all, your work and support is not in vain. Lives are being changed. People are coming to know the Lord. People are encouraged and inspired to live for the Lord. And we see that through evidence in their lives. But I also want to say that you're not alone in your support for this ministry. It's important for us to hear these stories of other people that give and give and give. And so you're a part of many people that are a part of this camp, and it's pretty special. As we look to the future, specifically this coming year, one of our biggest challenges and priorities is to see how we can increase our attendance numbers. And I know it's not about the numbers. Pre-COVID, we were turning kids away. That's why we built this, and that's why we built those cabins over on the other side. We wanted to increase our capacity. And still this past summer, even though we had an increase from last year, we're still below our numbers from pre-COVID. And so we're working on it. We have a challenge as a staff that we want those numbers to be up, and not just for the sake of having numbers. But you've heard me say this, from here, I believe that empty beds are missed opportunities. And so we want to fill those beds. We want kids to come. We've got a very healthy all aboard fund that we need to continue to replenish because it's being used. As you saw in the financial statements, they're being used. Kids are able to access those funds to come to camp. So that's great, but we need to get more kids to come as well. And so there's still, it's all this kind of work hand in hand. We need to replenish that so that more kids can come and so that we can share the gospel with kids. So that's probably our biggest priority this next year, is to try and find a way to get kids to come. Our capital priorities are listed in your books that you have. You can see and read about them. We've got ways that we want to cover it. We've got a telethon that we're planning in March to pay for, to help fundraise for some of the dreams and things that we have going. I'll be willing to answer any questions that you have about any of those items that we have there, or anything that is in our budget that we presented for the next year. But I do have one other update though. So last year we presented at the very end just the possibility of, there is a house for sale that's on the edge of our property, and what if we could purchase that or move towards purchasing that? And over this past year, we have been in communication with the owners there, and they have actually decided to actually sell their house in Lethbridge and live here full time. And so that is actually off the table now as it is. They have always said, and they said even in the last little bit, they said, one day we're going to move. So maybe you should be prepared for that. So the last thing, we were talking about selling the Champion House, and we have decided to hang on to it for now, just to deal with, again, we've got housing challenges that we want to deal with in the future. And so we're going to hang on to it for now to see if that could be one of the solutions for what we need for that. That's all. That's my report. I don't know if I turn it over to Ted and for some questions. Do you have any questions, I guess? Ted, do you want to come up here, or do you just want me to do it? Oh, okay. I don't know if I can call him the old man, but yeah, okay. Can I just grab that? Thank you for that reminder. Ted, or Doug, are you okay with me? Or you want to come up here? I'm good, okay. The proposed budget for this year, it is what it is there. The donations are what it is. We did some increases for some of our staff. There's a little bit of extra there for an additional staff member or two if we require that over the coming year. I'm excited. We're having a strategy board retreat this next January. I'm very excited about that because it's going to be facilitated, and we're going to be able to work through some of the challenges that we're facing as a camp, and hopefully come out of that with a good plan for the next 5 to 10 years. No pressure, but I'm excited about that. Expenses are as they are as well. If you have questions, please ask them. It's not, you can see the increases in the insurance, which drives our treasurer crazy. And you can also see the increases in our utilities, which, I mean, it's going crazy as well. But otherwise, it's a fairly conservative budget. When you turn the page to the capital end of things, again, it's all listed in our view book there as far as why we are doing the things that we're doing. We're looking for, we're really excited about the future. And so even now we had a conversation with some engineers and some people about a zip line, maybe in 2025. And not just a zip line, but a zip line tour. So zip, zip, zip. Arnie, we'll get you on it, all right? All right. And so we've got dreams and ideas. It's fun thinking about these things. So I don't know if that's a good way to present the budget, but.
So John's presentation of the budget is because the budget has been certainly recommended by the board, which met this last week. The way I'd like to address that is to have a motion from the floor to adopt the budget that has been presented to you in writing. And we'll look for a second, and then we'll entertain discussion. And if you have questions, we can get into the details. Is there a motion to adopt the budget as presented in writing? I got Dustin and second with Gunther. Any questions for John or Doug relative to budget? All in favor say aye. And that is carried by God's grace and his provision. That budget will be met and by God's grace exceeded liberally. Arnie, when I'm done my next, John, thank you. Will you express your appreciation for John, please? Arnie, when I'm done, I'm going to call you to pray, and then Scott's going to take over when we're done, you and I. I want to thank Scott and Tanya for their leadership. Approximately 6 weeks ago, Tanya started communications with me about this meeting. And as you know, the chairman should have something to do with the agenda. But in this case, of course, we have Tanya. And so I said, Tanya, you do what has to be done, and then I'll read the agenda when I get there and do what I have to do. So Tanya, thanks for leading and leading well. I appreciate what you do. Now, Tanya is a superstar. You know that. And the board is fortunate enough that they get full reports from all of our staff. And Tanya's is 16 pages. It needs to be 16 pages. It's what camp is about, is Tanya's people. And it's absolutely inspiring. I have no idea how we could give you an overview of what happens between September the 1st and August 31st, but it's incredible and it's inspiring. The stuff that goes on here from the time our young leaders arrive early May till the end of summer is incredible. And you see Flex kids that are here as well. It's unbelievable. And it's worth reading. I have no idea how we could give you an overview. And then the rest of the reports are also very detailed, and thank God for the work that our senior staff do. So you get a snapshot in here. These are very short, readable reports. Please read them. They're worth your time. You notice Darcy and Dustin are relatively young. And Doug and Arnie and I and Dave Coots and George are not. We are having a strategy session in January, and part of that strategy session is certainly going to talk on succession. But you can see that we are well equipped with the young men and women that have chosen to join our team, and we're excited about the future. If you have an urge that you would like to serve on our board, please get in touch with me. You can do that through the camp. The board meets about 5 times a year. This year we're having a strategy session, and then of course the 6th meeting would be the AGM. Okay, Arnie, I think if you would come and pray, we'll be dismissed, and then we'll give Scott the last word, or maybe Joel.
Thank you. I've never stood up here before like this. You got a nice perch up here when you see them, everybody. That's nice. I don't know about you, but I had my Kleenex out a few times today. Hey? This does that to me. I love hearing stories. Love hearing stories. Stories about Jesus Christ, how he has touched lives at SABC. Thank you all very much for coming. Let's pray together. Father, we're here today with our hearts filled up again about all the stories and the love that's shared here and how you meet people. You meet people. And it's through Jesus Christ and the cross and the shed blood, and that is the story of SABC. And how some have come to faith in Christ and have come back and then have used their abilities and talents and their love for you and the love for other kids to come and mentor them. It's a joy to be here and to see it. Thank you also, Father, for we know what's waiting for us down in the dining room. We have Dave and Jason there and many others. We're grateful, Father, for all the many, many blessings. We thank you and pray in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you. Ted, I see you're running away. No, I'm just kidding. You get to go. All right. Well, I think that's it. There was a couple of announcements they wanted me to make, which was mostly just going over what we already talked about, that we're going down for lunch here right away. If you see somebody with a why, ask me about my why button on, make sure to ask them. But not just ask them. Tell them your why. You don't show up to an AGM because you just love AGMs. You're all here because you have a why. You said why not and showed up today. Encourage them with your why as well. Tell them why you love this camp, how it's touched you, and why you think it's great. Let's all share lunch together, you guys. Thanks for coming.
Scott, can I interrupt 1 second here?
I mean, you've been doing it all day. I don't know if I can really stop you.
That's right. John's getting up there in age and sometimes forgets a couple of things, but we did actually have a full-time staff video to introduce some of our team here.
Let's do that.
We might quick take a look at that, if that's all good. Oh, it is very lagged.
Awesome. Well, I'm assuming that round of applause was for me, so let's go for lunch.